And everybody.
Neighborhood, only on the Weather Channel.
This is a special edition of WeatherScope with the latest on the coastal storm threatening New England.
Well, good afternoon from the Weather Channel Forecast Center. A spring storm, and with it the potential for not only coastal flooding but some locally heavy, very wet snowfall. We'll have more on the details on the storm, and also we'll be joining our own Jeff Morrow on location in North Tewksbury, Massachusetts, northwest of downtown Boston. Right now, let's take a look at the development stage of this particular storm. We have a massive area of low pressure sitting over the Great Lakes in the upper levels. Now, that upper level low, kind of a fixed feature lately, it will drift slowly east in the next 24 to 36 hours. The surface low coming off the mid-Atlantic coast, initially steering northeast. However, due to the change in the upper wind pattern over the east side of the upper low, we could actually see that low starting to curve a little bit more in a northerly fashion, and as a result, moisture from the Atlantic wraps around to the west over the top of that cold air and gives us that heavy, wet snowfall. Joining us now, as I mentioned, in North Tewksbury, Massachusetts, northwest of Boston, is Jeff Morrow. And Jeff, we talked to you about a half hour ago. At that time, you mentioned a lot of clouds around, but no major precipitation. There have been some changes, perhaps, since we last talked to you?
Yeah, a little bit, Declan. Looks like we're getting a little bit of the lighter snow. It's slackened off, obviously, now that I'm talking to you. And a little sleet mixed in, too. But it is starting to pick up a little bit. But it's a steady progression of clouds out of the northeast here. You can definitely see the clouds really marching in off the Atlantic Ocean here. Some of the moisture starting to come in off the Atlantic, probably spiraling around our low. Behind me here, Interstate 495. I guess you'd have to call it the outer beltway around Boston, if I could use that terminology. Traffic moving fine. There are no traffic problems. There's really, for all the snow we have had this winter, there's no snow on the ground here, but we think that's about to change. Could see as much as 4 to 8 inches from what I understand.
That's right, Jeff. We've noticed there's been some snow for a good part of the day in Worcester, Massachusetts. In fact, it's been picking up in intensity over the past several hours, and it does appear that heavier snow is moving in your direction. Have you, by chance, heard any random comments from folks in the area about the prospect of yet another storm in this very busy winter, now early spring season?
I guess if I had to pick one word to describe the mood, it would be disgust. people don't want any more snow here. I mean, folks in New England are used to it. It comes every winter. This is a record snow season in Boston anyway, and one more snowstorm folks don't want. And actually, they're already looking ahead. Some folks have been watching the Weather Channel, and they know that this may be another one after that by midweek, and maybe something else next week. This just seems to be the winter that doesn't want to end, and the spring that is turning into winter.
Right, indeed. A very, very long winter season. Well, again, thanks a lot, Jeff. We'll be talking to Jeff throughout the evening northwest of Boston as the snow is just about ready to start moving in. Well, it looks like this is going to be an interesting storm system. If you look at the satellite view late this afternoon, you can see the clouds pinwheeling around the area of lowest pressure. Now, the surface low pressure moving away from the coastline. However, what we're looking at in particular is the fact that these clouds to the south are moving out a lot quicker than the clouds to the north. In fact, there's a kind of a rotation to the west from northern New Hampshire back into eastern Canada. So what that is showing us is that we have some stronger winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere. There is a very significant push of colder air crossing the Appalachians, so we get this speckly nature to the clouds all through the Ohio Valley with scattered snow showers, and at times some of those snow showers heavy. I want to point out something in particular. This area of what we call cloud top cooling. In other words, the blue becomes darker in shading as we progress through this afternoon and now into early this evening over Long Island and southern New England. What is happening is the air is starting to rise a little bit more quickly. We're getting a lot more what we call vertical motion in the atmosphere, and as a result, the precipitation intensity is starting to pick up. And one of the factors that we tend to find with these spring storm systems is that during the day, in the lowest several thousand feet of the atmosphere, and this has been the case today through this zone, the temperatures warm enough so that we have rain. But if you were to go 1,500 feet above the ground in Long Island, you'd find a freezing level. So it's not too far up there. Once we get into evening, there will be some cooling that takes place in the lowest several thousand feet of the atmosphere. So we do expect this area of rain and sleet mixed in with snow occasionally to turn over to all snow tonight. Now, Jeff, located northwest of Boston, right in about here, precipitation coming in from the south, and again, that precipitation should be picking up as we head into the nighttime hours. Again, we've had cold rain out over the Cape today, Providence in the rain, and also as you head south to Long Island. Snow is set up from Syracuse south into north-central Pennsylvania. In this zone, we've had 3 to 5 inches, especially accumulating above 1,000 feet elevation. Another common characteristic of spring storms is we tend to find a big variation in snow amounts from the ground and then working your way up several thousand feet in elevation. Right along that trough of low pressure, you tend to find the winds converging coming in from the east and northeast, and then a bit of a northwest flow, so the air has a tendency to pile up and rise along that trough of low pressure. Don't forget, between 2 and 4 tonight, at the time of high tide, we could see some coastal flooding in the areas highlighted in eastern Massachusetts, heading south towards the Cape and the islands, where the tide water levels could actually run 1.5 feet to maybe as much as 2.5 feet above normal. We'll continue to keep you updated on the storm. We'll talk to Jeff throughout this evening. Right now, the rest of the current national forecast and the forecast with Bill Keneally.
All right, thank you, Declan. As bad as it is or is going to be in the Northeast, that's how nice it is or is going to be in the West. 80 right now in Phoenix, 83 in Las Vegas, and a whopping 87 now in Burbank, California, into the San Fernando Valley. Beautiful day out here. This pattern's going to hold, I think. California especially, we are going to break it down, though, unfortunately, for tomorrow. Better chance of cloud cover. Some rain and hence cooling weather coming into Seattle and also Portland. Well, here's your weather map. We continue to see the 30s having just a lock on Minneapolis and Milwaukee and Detroit, all the way across New York, northern Jersey now. Temperatures in the upper 30s and rain falling. The city itself, as Declan mentioned, may get some snow, could see an inch or two, but the heavier snows will be around Boston. And also, I think, Albany getting some pretty good snowfall as well. Even though we've had mainly rain today, we will be turning over to snow in the Albany area. Now here's your cooler air sliding over the southeast behind one front. Temperature is not that bad, though. For instance, upper 50s to near 60 in Charlotte and Atlanta. We have a little bit of rain ahead of our warm front across Missouri, making for a raw day, though.